All right, guys. This is just gonna be no cuts, no edits. Really, this is just kind of one take, a big rant on yesterday's game and just the season in general for the Chicago Bears. Because as of right now, there's almost no reason to watch Bears football, and I genuinely mean that. I mean, we're 3-8 on the season, and the only reason that you're watching football at this point is one, if you're delusional that we'll still make the playoffs, which I guess technically, mathematically speaking, we're not eliminated just yet. But come on, let's face the reality here. We're not making the playoffs this year. And as long as we have this head coach, we're never making the playoffs. The good news is I don't think he'll be here next season. But in general, for this season, we're not making the playoffs. So that's one reason you'd be watching the Bears this season. The other reason would probably just be for the tank, for watching, the Bears get a better draft pick. But at this point, guys, what's it all for? I mean, we want to rebuild for the future, but we've done that before and have gotten nowhere close to it. I mean, we've gotten to a Super Bowl, once in the past 20 years, I guess. But other than that, there isn't much of a bright future unless we pick the right head coach for next year. But, man, going in terms of Sunday's game, oh, my goodness. There are not enough words for me to describe, as I take out my phone real quick. There are not enough words for me to describe how abysmal yesterday's game was in terms of the emotional roller coaster that we went through as Bears fans, thinking that we had the victory sealed. I was literally just talking to my boy about this at work, saying that pretty much the victory was already sealed. It was like 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We were up 26-14. 26-14. They had only scored 14 points. Detroit Lions, not the old same Detroit Lions, the same Detroit Lions that have beaten the Chiefs that are now 8-2. We're 7-2 at the time before they beat us. One of the hottest teams, if not the hottest team in football. And I thought we were going to get blown out. And honestly, maybe we should have. But we had a chance to pull off this victory, guys. We had a chance to beat the hottest team in football, if not a top 3 hottest team in football right now. An absolute juggernaut of a team. And we were destroying them 26-14. We held them to 14 points in 4 quarters, essentially, of football. Jared Goff threw 3 interceptions. He never throws interceptions, or at least hasn't in the past season and a half. He's been really good at not turning the ball over, and he threw 3 interceptions, including a kick return fumble by the Lions that Tyreek Stevenson, who had a great game, by the way, he forced the fumble, and we recovered it. 4 turnovers, guys. 4 turnovers. And not only that, we only turned the ball over once. And not only that, we won the time of possession by a large margin. I don't remember what the number was exactly, but we won by a huge margin. And yet we still lost. If you had told me before the Bears game started that we were going to pick off Jared Goff 3 times, that we were going to force another turnover, we're going to have 4 turnovers against them and only have 1 on our end, and then beat them on time of possession by a lot. Guys, those are the 2 biggest keys to winning any football game. Especially if you are an inferior opponent going against a much superior opponent, you'll want to win those 2 battles right there. Obviously, the points and whatever, and the touchdown, the rest of the game plan, yeah. But generally speaking, you're doing a good job on defense if you're winning the turnover margin, and you're doing a good job on offense if you're able to keep their offense off the field. If you would have told me those 2 things before the game started, I would have probably guessed that the Bears won. I would have been like, damn, we actually beat the Lions. There's no way. But of course we lose. And as a matter of fact, I'm not sure what the exact record or whatever you want to call it, whatever thing it is. But basically I read that the Bears are the first team in history to win the turnover margin by that much and win the time possession battle by the amount they did and still lose. I believe there was 50 other times that's happened, and every team that's won those 2 at those margins won, and we were the first team to lose. Just pure destruction. I don't know what to say anymore, guys. I mean, we're 3-8 on the season. This wasn't really about, before the game we were 3-7, but this game wasn't really about, our chances for the playoffs, making a big run. I mean, yeah, it's possible, or was possible, but that's not really what we wanted to win for, We want to see some sort of competence from our head coach. We want to see some sort of competence, something to cheer this team about. Be happy for something. If we won this game, we're 4-7. There's maybe an outside chance that we go on a run here, beat the Vikings, and we face the Lions again, knowing that we can't beat them. I don't know if we win that game. Who knows? Maybe that's a little bit delusion at that point. But 4-7 sounds a lot better than 3-8. 4-7 sounds a lot better. And even if we lose the rest of the games after, you can at least say that we beat the Detroit Lions, who are probably at this point Super Bowl contenders. Probably going to make the Super Bowl if they don't get knocked out by the Niners or Eagles. Are probably pretty much the only two things that could knock them out. I know I said I wasn't going to make any cuts, but I had to make one there. But oh my goodness, guys, this is just, it's tough. I feel like as Bears fans, we should be eligible for like some sort of therapy, insurance, compensation for something just for being a Bears fan, because it really does take a mental toll on us just watching this team having to trot out, not even just the roster. The roster's fine. We've got a pretty decent roster. It's nothing crazy, nothing amazing. It's much better than last year. I'll give you that much. We do have a lot of holes on the defense and whatnot, but the talent's there. It's the coaching, guys. Holy crap, it's the coaching. The coaching is holding this team back so much. How is it that last year we were competitive against all these playoff teams? The Eagles, which we lost by 5. The Dolphins that we got into a shootout with, who our wide receiver 1 at the time was Chase Claypool. We got into we basically let a comeback against the Cowboys when we were down like 3 scores. They ended up beating us by a lot in the end, but that's because we gave up. But there were so many times, that we had where we were close to beating top tier teams, playoff teams last year, with pretty much Walmart cashiers out there with jewel baggers. There were just nobodies out there on our roster. A bunch of rookies, a bunch of no-name undrafted free agents, guys that you never heard of. At one point, Justin Fields was throwing to guys who had never caught a pass in the NFL, and they were on the starting lineup. I could have gone out there and started for them at some point because of how bad our roster was. It was that bad. And yet, somehow, this year, with a much more improved roster, we are pretty much the same. Maybe slightly better. Keep in mind, folks, this is the coaching. There's no doubt about it. This is on the coaching. You want to blame Fields for, the last drive where he fumbled the ball away, whatever. I can't really fix that. It is what it is. Yeah, that was bad on him, but guys, he put up 26 points against the Detroit Lions. This is not the same Detroit Lions that we've been used to for the past 20, 30 years. This is a very good team, a very good defense, and Justin Fields was lighting them up. 26 points. Justin Fields, who everyone wants to call a running back. Everyone wants to call him a bust. And he put 26 on their head. And we let up 14 points only with 4 minutes left to go, and we choke it. We allowed 2 touchdowns. We played not to lose. We were so conservative. We were so conservative at the end. For some reason, we're just running the ball straight into the middle with Khalil Herbert against the Lions, who is going to run. Why don't you throw some sprinkles in? A toss play, reverse sweep, a Justin Fields run again. Dude, that. Justin Fields had 100 yards rushing on the ground. As a quarterback, you never see those numbers unless it's Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts. And for some reason, we went away from that, went all vanilla, and just made it super easy for them to come back. And then on defense, forget it, man. Our defense just folded. And that seems to be the theme of this year. The Chicago Bears just don't know what they're doing. Plain and simple. We just don't know what we're doing. The coaching doesn't know what they're doing. I don't know why we won't fire Eberflus. I don't know why we don't fire our head coach. I just don't. Or at least somebody. We fired our defensive coordinator. We fired our running backs coach. Why? Because they had some HR problems, which is weird that we have 2 of those in the same year. That just gives a testament to how bad our locker room is. But I don't know why Ryan Poles or whoever is in charge of making that decision. Maybe Ryan Poles isn't able to fire Eberflus, because the Bears have never fired a head coach in the middle of the season. We've never fired a head coach mid-season. We've only fired them after the season's over. And for some reason, that's become tradition with the Bears, and I don't see where that makes any sort of sense. I don't get it. So essentially, as a Bears head coach, that if you sign a contract with the Bears, and you get paid millions of dollars to be a Chicago Bears head coach, you know that essentially your job is safe for at least the entire year. Anytime that you make it into the season, all you gotta do is make it through the offseason as a Bears head coach. And as soon as you start week 1, you're safe for the rest of the season. You could be terrible, like Matt Eberflus. He is 6-22 as a head coach, guys. 6-22. He has not beaten a team with a winning record. Yeah, we beat the 49ers week 1 of last year. Like, yeah, we beat them, but then we ended up losing the next, we were like 2-14 the rest of the way through, 2-17, whatever it was. I don't remember the exact record. But man, guys, I mean, we've been abysmal since then. Matt Eberflus has not even shown a shred of light in this darkness. He has not shown a bit of light in this darkness. He has not shown that he can be a capable head coach in this league. He should never be allowed to be a head coach ever again. At all. Same thing with Luke Getsy, man. He should not be allowed to be calling plays ever again. We just need to clean house. And I feel so bad for Justin Fields because it is so clear that, yes, he could be doing better. Sure, whatever. He could have not taken that sack. He could have stepped up in the pocket. But we're talking about one play here, guys. Are you really going to hang his entire performance, his 26-point performance against the Detroit Lions of this year, on just one play? Are we going to sit here and say that Jared Goff played a much better game because, he won? And even though he threw 3 interceptions? Even though he couldn't drive for 4 quarters against the Chicago Bears defense, who are one of the worst defenses in the league? Are you going to really say that Goff played a lot better than Fields? Because of Fields' one mistake he made? Come on. That game was not on Fields. The game was not on Fields. Was he perfect? Absolutely not. But he was not on Fields. It was not on him. He played very well. He played very solid. He didn't play perfect, but he played very solid. And to put 26 points on any NFL team in general, you did your job. You really did your job there. And now it's up to the defense to hold them. You put up 26 points. I remember when we had Trubisky, and we couldn't put up more than 20 points of offense. Back when Matt Nagy was our head coach. And our defense was pretty solid at that point, in like 2018, 2019, 2020-ish era, where we were holding teams down to like 15 to 23 points around there. And because we couldn't score more than 20 points, we were pretty much like half and half. We would never lose. We would win some, lose some. But a lot of those could have been victories if we just had a quarterback that could put up more than 20 points a game consistently. Justin Fields has done that a lot through his career. Say what you want about him, but he puts up points. He puts up points a lot. And for some reason, our defense is never able to hold them because Matt Eberflus is a terrible head coach who coaches a very terrible defense. And then at the end, even when we do have the lead like we did against the Lions, we get scared. We play conservative. We play all vanilla. And we play not to lose instead of playing to win. And that's what lost us the game, guys. I don't understand why I didn't wake up this morning and see on my phone that Matt Eberflus was fired by the Chicago Bears. I'm fully believing at this point that it's not Ryan Poles. I mean, any GM, he's a smart GM, and especially after he traded a second round pick for Chase Claypool and then cut him earlier this year, like week 4, week 5. He cuts ties with his losses, guys. We know that. So the fact that he isn't firing Eberflus after this cataclysmic season that he's having right now, the fact that he's not firing him tells me that it's probably not him. He's probably literally not allowed to fire a head coach. It's the McCaskies, the owners. And if that is, that's really scary. Because that means that the problem might never be fixed. And I don't even know what to say at that point. If that's the problem, I mean, I don't even know what you do there. We're going to have to ride this season out, guys. I mean, if you're going to watch Bears football, props to you. I hope, at least there's something that you find worth watching. Maybe it's just Justin Fields. At this point, the only other reason, other than the first 2 reasons I named, is to watch Justin Fields' development. See, hopefully, if he can prove, good enough to where we don't have to take a quarterback next year. But man, it doesn't even matter what quarterback we have next year, next 5 years, next 10 years. If we can't get the head coaching right, we can't get the coaching staff right, what's it all worth? I mean, we've seen it time and time again. We fire Lovie Smith after a 10-6 season. We bring in Mark Trestman. He was terrible. We bring in John Fox. He was terrible. We bring in Matt Nagy. Had one great year, then terrible the rest. And now we bring in Matt Eberflus, who is on pace to have the worst record. I don't know if he has already, but he's on pace to definitely have the worst record in Chicago Bears history in terms of a head coach. Literally the worst head coach in Chicago Bears history. And to put perspective on how bad that is, we're literally one of the first teams to be created in the NFL. We're one of the, I think, first 6 teams. We are one of the oldest franchises in the NFL. There have been so many head coaches that have come and gone before Matt Eberflus. And when we thought it couldn't even get worse than Matt Nagy, Matt Eberflus said, hold my beer. I'm going to get a lot worse. Because right now, I'll tell you, I'd rather have Matt Nagy. It wouldn't be much of an upgrade. But, I mean, better than this. I'll tell you that much. Better than this. This is sad. Like I said, unless you're watching for Justin Fields' development, if you're just delusional that we'll somehow still make the playoffs, prayers to you and in your mind, I guess. And yeah, that's about it. There's really nothing else I could say about why you would be watching the Bears. We're most likely going to have 2 top 5, top 10 first round picks. We do know that Carolina's pick is probably going to be like a top 3 pick at this point. Hopefully it's the number 1 overall pick. The best case scenario for the Bears after this season, because I'm pretty much just done with the season right now. This is going to be more off-season talk from now on. It's very hard to make a video going over, each game, the wins and losses, and if we're going to beat this team in the numbers or whatever, because at this point it doesn't matter. Our head coach just plays to lose every single game because he knows that he'll never get fired until the end of the season. His job is pretty much safe for the for the rest of the season. So he has no reason to improve. He already knows his job's gone, so that's probably why he's not even doing anything. He's just doing what he can to skate by, get past the media and stuff, and he'll take the backlash, which, he's getting paid millions for. I would get paid millions, to have people slander my name. I don't care. I'd be like, yo, I'm richer than all of y'all. So I guess that's maybe that's what he's thinking. I don't know. But either way, going on to next year, what I was saying before, the best case scenario would be for Justin Fields to ball out, or at least prove enough to where we don't have to take Caleb Williams or Drake May. We trade that number 1 overall pick if Carolina does, gift us that number 1 overall pick. We trade that pick back for a haul. We grab, a star player to build around Fields. Hopefully on defense, like an edge rusher to pair along Montez Sweat. Maybe a corner to pair along Jalen Johnson, or unless they want to stick with Tyreek Stevenson. Maybe a safety, like a new free safety. I don't know. Or another D lineman. You can never go wrong with D line. You can go another receiver, I guess. I wouldn't really do receiver. There's just a bunch of different things you can do, guys, with that number 1 overall pick if we trade it back. And I really hope it happens, but it doesn't matter unless we get the head coach right. If we don't get the coaching staff right, it means nothing. If you put Matt Eberflus on the Kansas City Chiefs and you replace him with Andy Reid, or you replace Andy Reid with Matt Eberflus, watch how that team will just sink to the ground. They won't be as bad as the Bears because, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback, possibly the greatest quarterback ever. So he'll make him look somewhat decent, but it'll be terrible. We're already seeing it with the Chiefs this year. They don't look the same. It's because Matt Nagy's calling plays. We know how Matt Nagy is. For some reason, they let go of Eric Bieniemy to go to the Commanders, and then they bring in Matt Nagy again to be the offensive coordinator. He was fine as a QB coach, but come on, you saw how he was calling plays with Chicago, man. And now you're wondering why the Chiefs are so bad? I wonder why. It's not like he was bad for 4 years in Chicago, right? Well, three of the 4 years he was here. Not like he was the worst play caller in the league at some point, right? Come on, you know what you have with Matt Nagy. But I digress. It doesn't matter with this team if we don't get the coaching right. Hopefully a Ben Johnson or John Harbaugh or Eric Bieniemy who wants to be a head coach, somebody out there, or I forgot what the Seahawks coordinator is, but even though I kind of don't want coordinator, it's kind of a risk. But either way, we need an offensive-minded head coach to build to Fields' strengths, to build to our offensive needs, and another coach to really fix our defense. We need a true defensive coordinator, not a Matt Eberflus who was great in Indy and then all of a sudden just died when he comes to Chicago. I don't understand why. The future is not bright unless we get the coaching right. I don't care how good our team is. I don't care what kind of weapons we have on offense and defense. We could draft, Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State, who's probably, one of the best, if not the best wide receiver prospect since Calvin Johnson or something. I don't know. We could draft Jared Verse. We could trade a pick to freaking the Giants or whatever, and they send 3 first-round picks and whatever their D tackle name is. I forgot his name. Is in the tip of my tongue. I'll figure it out later. But Dexter Lawrence. There you go. We could trade for Dexter Lawrence. We could trade for Quinnen Williams from the Jets. We could trade for so many different players and have this great team, great defense. But if our head coach is just as bad as Matt Eberflus, or if it is Matt Eberflus, or on that level of Matt Nagy, Mark Trestman, John Fox type thing, if we continue that same stretch of head coaching that we've been since Lovie Smith, it's not going to matter, guys. So I really hope and pray that if there's anything that Ryan Poles gets right off season, it is the hiring, well, first, the firing of Matt Eberflus, and then more importantly, the hiring of a true head coach. He doesn't need to be a Bill Belichick. He doesn't need to be an Andy Reid. He doesn't need to be a Mike Tomlin. That'd be great if we strike gold on that. That'd be amazing. But he doesn't need to be a Hall of Fame coach. He just needs to be competent. He just needs to be good. Good enough to win us something. Good enough to keep us competitive for a consistent amount of years. I'm tired of having one good season. One season where we have a top 5 offense, or one season where we have 12 wins, and then just falling off a map immediately after that. Straight down to mediocrity and irrelevancy. Just something to where we can have consistently good team play. We lack that. We've been lacking that since Lovie Smith. We've been lacking that for a decade now. Or longer than a decade, actually. I don't know where it ends, guys. You guys let me know. What do you guys feel about the season? What do you guys feel about the team in general? Are you even going to watch Bears football this season? Because honestly, I might not. I mean, if I do, it's probably just going to watch Justin Fields. He's pretty much the only thing that makes this team exciting to watch when he makes all these nice runs and good throws. I feel sorry for Justin Fields, man. I really wish he got drafted to another team because he would be having a much better career. He just got drafted to the wrong team. Now, hopefully we can turn it around with another head coach, but that's a big if. Let me know what you guys think. Bear down, I'm out.